My name's Linda Hayes. I'm 34, and I run a small biotech startup in Seattle. Last week, my name appeared in Forbes for the very first time. This week, my mother appeared at my office without warning. Her arrival announced itself, vanilla perfume and guilt. She smiled like years of silence had never existed. I came to celebrate, she said, placing her purse neatly on my desk. For a moment, I thought she wanted forgiveness. Instead, she wanted compensation. She reached into her bag and unfolded a typed list, precise and cold. Private school tuition, meals, emotional labor. At the bottom, one total $1 million. Some parents give life. Mine sent an invoice. Before I go on, where are you watching from tonight? Seattle's freezing. I'm curious if it's any warmer where you are. I grew up in a house that looked perfect from the sidewalk. 2 stories, trimmed hedges, a front door that always smelled of fresh paint. Neighbors waved and said, such a lovely family. Inside, it was all performance. My mother, Margaret, directed every act. Her star? My sister, Sophie. In every photo, she stood center frame. Every story ended with her name. When Sophie danced, Dad filmed. When I brought home straight A's, he didn't even look up from his newspaper. Mom would say, we don't brag in this house. Yet somehow, bragging about Sophie was an exception. At 16, Sophie got a car with a red bow. I got her old bus pass and a reminder to be grateful. Dinner followed the same script every night. Dad talked about work, Mom praised Sophie, and I cleared the plates in silence, fading into the background. The smell of lemon detergent became the scent of invisibility. I told myself being unseen meant being independent. But deep down, I knew that was just a lie. When I got into college, I practiced the words to ask for help with tuition. I waited until Dad seemed settled, the newspaper neatly folded, the TV murmuring in the background. I'll need some help with housing and expenses, I said quietly. Mom didn't lift her eyes from the laundry basket. Dad just grunted. You've got scholarships, don't you? You'll figure it out. That sentence didn't raise his voice, but it broke something inside me. No anger, no shouting, just a calm kind of rejection. You're on your own. That night, I sat beneath a dim lamp, filling out loan applications while Sophie slept soundly across the hall. Love, in our house, wasn't something freely given. It had to be earned. College blurred into a cycle of labs, ramen cups, and overnight shifts. I learned to run on caffeine and deadlines instead of affection. No one ever asked if I was okay, and eventually, I stopped expecting them to. The family group chat glowed constantly with Sophie's triumphs, new dresses, family trips, rehearsal snapshots, and finally a photo of a diamond ring catching perfect light. I muted the thread before it could remind me how invisible I was. Then came Dr. Elena Cruz, the first person who really saw me. You don't just follow directions, she told me. You actually think. In her lab, the low buzz of centrifuges felt like safety. Cold metal benches, her warm handwriting scrawled across my hood. You're onto something big. Keep going. Under fluorescent lights, silence changed its meaning. It no longer felt like neglect. It became concentration. And for once, it belonged entirely to me. Nights smelled of ethanol and stale coffee. Pipettes clicked. Timers beeped. My playlist whispered through my earbuds as data turned into a language that finally spoke back. One evening, Dr. Cruz stopped beside my desk. Eat something, she said, nudging a granola bar toward me. Breaks aren't indulgences, they're fuel. I nodded, tucked it into my pocket, and went back to adjusting the scope. By the time graduation came, I'd built a quiet fortress around myself. No more pleading for approval. No more waiting to be noticed. Freedom, I thought, was a door I'd already stepped through. Then, a photo shattered that illusion, softly but completely. Sophie, 21, smiling with Condo keys in her hand by a sunlit lake. The caption read, Happy birthday, miracle girl. Welcome home. In the corner of the frame, a red ribbon curled like memory itself. 2 bedrooms, granite counters, fresh flowers staged perfectly on the island. The common sparkled beneath it, bright and flawless, like glassware after a party. Not a single message read, How are you, Linda? I didn't cry, didn't throw my phone. Didn't call anyone. I just stared at that red bubble until the screen dimmed. That color had shadowed me since I was 16. Like confetti after a party I was never invited to. Presents I never opened. Moments I never got to live. Rooms I never stepped inside. Some shades sink deeper than bruises and take longer to fade. I turned a page in my lab notebook and wrote, "Polymer dissolution rate, stable." My hand didn't tremble. Something underneath it did. I scrubbed the workstation clean, as if tidiness could repair what memory breaks. Later, Dr. Cruz found me refilling the ice bucket. "Bad news," she asked, soft but precise. "Just a photo," I said with a strained smile. "The kind that reminds you where you stand." She watched me for a moment, then nodded. "Stand where your work stands," she said. "Let everything else move past." That night, I walked home beneath streetlights. That buzzed like my machines. Basement apartment, paper-thin walls. The radiator ticking like a metronome. I reheated leftover noodles and labeled test tubes for the morning. And somewhere between those motions, I learned something new. Freedom isn't walking away from the house that forgot your name. It's giving up the urge to be asked back inside. Some truths don't shout. They whisper through your routine. And you finally listen. Success crept in that way, quietly, then all at once. Funding secured. Trials moved forward. My name started showing up in headlines. Forbes wrote, "The calm mind behind complex problems." I laughed when I read it. Calm isn't a gift, it's a discipline. We moved into a building of glass and light on Fifth. Patent certificates framed on the wall. Servers humming like distant bees. A skyline view steadying my breath. Investors came through, offering handshakes and calling me Dr. Hayes. None of them asked about the Christmases I spent unseen. Then the intercom buzzed. "A visitor. She says she's family." The word felt strange in that space. "Send her in," I said, my voice even, though my pulse wasn't. Her perfume arrived first, vanilla, too sweet. Then came the pearls, the neat hair. The smile rehearsed for approval. "Linda," my mother sang, stepping into my office, as if onto a stage. "I came to celebrate. Family should celebrate together." She scanned the room, taking silent inventory. The glass walls, the white boards, the awards. The calm gravity of purpose. "You never told us," she said, her tone almost tender. "You changed your number," I replied. "Phones work both ways," she murmured, placing her purse on my desk. "I've been thinking about sacrifices," she began, her tone practiced, eyes steady. "All the years I gave up for you girls." A chill traced the length of my spine. From her purse, she pulled out a folded paper, typed, crisp, organized like a lab report. Private school tuition, groceries, emotional labor. At the bottom, a single figure, $1 million. I read it twice, then once more. "You're sending me an invoice," I said slowly, "for being my mother." "For everything I lost," she replied. "For the life I could have lived." My voice sounded distant, almost foreign. "You chose to have me, Mom. Children don't owe their parents for existing." Her lips curved faintly, but her eyes turned to stone. "Family doesn't turn their back on the woman who gave them everything," she said. "Family doesn't charge for love," I answered. The silence that followed was sharp, clinical. Old memories flashed by. Red ribbons, bus tickets, a flickering lamp. And in that quiet, the ledger inside me finally settled. "I'll help cover your living costs," I said evenly. "But not this. Not a debt you made up." Her jaw tightened. "Then you're no longer my daughter." She stood, smoothed her jacket, and moved toward the door. "Your father would be ashamed," she said, soft and cutting. The latch clicked. Her perfume lingered like a false memory. I sat still for a long time. The air conditioner whispered a sterile kind of calm. I placed the paper beneath a glass weight, like a specimen I'd finished examining. When the trembling came, it was controlled. Tears, not many, but deliberate, followed their familiar path. I washed my face, returned to the whiteboard, and wrote 3 words. "Boundaries are oxygen." That night, I sat on my office floor. Champagne dress, bare feet, city lights spilling in. Control, I realized, had always disguised itself as sacrifice. And now I could finally name the disguise. For the first time, Silence felt peaceful, not punitive. I didn't sleep. Instead, I made a plan. Emotions could wait, paperwork could not. At 8 a.m., I called my attorney. Set up a restricted trust, I said. For my mother. Essentials only. No access to the principal. He hesitated, listening carefully. You're protecting her? I'm protecting myself from her, I replied. By noon, the documents were ready. Monthly allowance, medical coverage, independent oversight, no control, no drama. I signed everywhere the tabs marked. The ink dried like finality. He handed me a blue folder. Boundaries, he said, almost smiling. The kind you can enforce.